Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the difference between muscle trucks and street trucks. Now there's a good reason why, because yesterday I did a whole opinion piece on Mopar Insiders, and it had to go with the response to the 2027 Ram 1500 Rumblebee that we seen just a week ago. Now I was at the unveiling and it was a really exciting truck. Tim Kniskis has dubbed the term muscle truck, and usually when we hear muscle truck we think like of the Chevrolet, 454 SS with the big block in it from the early 90s and stuff like that. But no, Tim has created a different segment. What he's done is he's taken a Ram 1500 and he's given it the presence of a muscle car. And what I mean by that is how Tim defines the muscle truck movement is it kind of has the characteristics of a muscle car. You've seen a muscle car before. It's got usually a long hood, a short deck, and it's wide and it's low. So what Tim did was he had his team create a muscle truck, meaning they took the wide body kit from the TRX, put it on a Ram 1500, and basically gave it a quad cab, so it had a smaller actual greenhouse, and a short box. So it has the kind of proportions that a muscle car would have, being wide, low, and having the long hood and shorter box. So it's a different kind of like animal in itself. With that being said, a lot of people have raised a lot of questions since this truck came out. Now, you're going to have people saying, oh, it's not a true performance truck because it's not a regular cab. Tim went through all that. And we can actually play the video here.
This is the all-new Ram 1500 Rumblebee. Now, remember what I said about the proportions. You gotta get up and look at this car from a distance and really soak in the proportions of this thing. It is as important as the performance. And look, I know that there are a lot of keyboard warriors out there that are gonna bitch. You didn't give me the regular cab, I'm not buying it. You wanna know the facts? Here's the facts. In the entire truck industry, 3% of the sales are regular cab trucks. 3%. They're bitching, they're typing, they ain't buying. Yes, a regular cab would have been lighter. It would have been 300 pounds lighter than this. But this isn't a race car. This is a full-size truck that weighs 6,000 pounds. So yes, we gave you a 5% weight penalty, but we opened up 79 or 97% of the market. I'll take that bet all day long. Give up 5% and cover 97% of the market, because it allowed us to improve the proportions dramatically, I think, and make it daily driver capable. And probably the most important thing in today's day and age when everything's so expensive, we insured the spousal alibi. It is not just a weekend toy. This can be your daily driver for everything you need. And if you're worried about the 300 pounds, don't. Direct Connection is already working on it, and not in the way that you're thinking, but come to Roadkill Nights this year and we will have much more for you on that. Now, this is a 1,000% intentional move. We could have done it way cheaper and way faster had we not gone with the quad cab and the short box. But we needed those proportions. Those proportions are what makes this a muscle truck. Shorter, wider, lower. It just looks muscular. Plus, selfishly, it's way harder for anybody to try and copy these proportions, because you can't do it with a crew cab, and nobody has anything that's a non-crew cab with a short bed. So, okay, come and follow us. I got 2 years head start. Now, when the aftermarket gets a hold of this and drops it even further than we can, it's gonna be absolutely sick.
So you can see that only 3% of the market actually buys regular cab trucks. Now, does it make it worth the investment to justify 3% of the market to build a exclusive regular cab model for the 5th gen trucks when they're going to get changed out? And they've already announced by 2030 that all the trucks are going to get updated. No, it doesn't. So this whole thing is like a specialty truck. With that being said, my article yesterday had to do with the difference between these muscle trucks and what a street truck is. Now, a street truck, at least in my opinion, has always been a pickup truck. Not trying to be something else or look like something else, but it's a pickup truck that is lowered with big wheels, has the stance of a truck, but looks more aggressive, has a monochromatic look for the most part, maybe a hood scoop, maybe like a body cladding, but looks very sporty. That can go out and cruise like roads like Woodward Avenue, which we're on right now. So to me, that's a street truck. And if you go back to SEMA in November, we got to see the Ram 1500 Dude concept. Now the Dude was a kind of homage to the performance trucks or sport packages that Dodge had back in the early 70s. Now it was a really cool concept, but it had the perfect proportions of what a street truck was. It was lowered. It wasn't lowered a huge amount, but it was lowered. Had 22-inch wheels, had that, had a crew cab. Doesn't matter if it's a crew cab or a regular cab or whatever, but it had body cladding, had a ram air hood, looked aggressive, but it didn't have any really performance, like huge performance gains or anything like that. But it was just a nice looking, aggressive looking lowered truck for the street. Fast forward to these muscle trucks, Tim Kuniskis and his team not only gave it the 5.7, they gave it the 6.4, and we've been asking for that engine in the Ram 1500 for a long time. Since January of 2018 when the DT trucks came out, we've been wondering why the hell that Ram didn't do that to compete against Chevy with their 6.2. However, now we're finally getting it. But a lot of people just want a crew cab, short box, street truck with a 392 in it. And that's what it seems to be on the forums. When I went through all the 5th Gen Rams forums and the other Ram pickup forums, it seemed like that was the biggest thing that people wanted. Like, hey, I wish they would have just brought the Dude concept out. Again, you don't have to have Hellcat power in everything. We go back to the street trucks of the early 2000s. And it's funny because we talk about the Ram Rumblebee and how it was originally a regular cab truck. We step back and go back a half a year because the Rumblebee ran from 2004 and 2005. In 2005, they called it the second Swarm, but it was only halfway through the model year, and then he switched it over to the Ram Daytona. Now, the Ram Daytona was an interesting truck because it was pretty much the same body cladding and everything, but they added a fake plastic wing, and they gave it the hood of a Ram SRT-10. But it was pretty much the same truck, just different, like, little bit of different, colors. Obviously, it had Go Mango and bright silver instead of black and, the whole solar yellow color. So it was just pretty much the same package, just kind of re-engineered a little bit. But the difference between the Rumblebee and the Daytona was that they had a regular cab and a quad cab model for the Daytona. Keep in mind, the quad cab was the biggest cab you could get at that time. So they had options. If you look at other sport trucks of the era, okay, not everything had to be a regular cab. Now, we can talk about Dodge sport trucks, for example. Dodge had the Dodge Dakota 5.9 RT, my favorite truck of all time. Now, the 5.9 RT came in a regular cab, and it also came in a club cab model. So again, it didn't have to have, a regular cab only model. We look at Ford. Ford had the SVT Lightning. Now, the SVT Lightning was a crazy truck. It had a supercharged 5.4 liter under the hood, and again, made around 360 horsepower, I think it was at the time. And that was a lot of horsepower and performance at the time, but it was a regular cab and it was a sport side box. However, Ford also did a street truck based on the Lightning called the Harley Davidson Edition. And what they did was they gave it the same exact equipment that the Lightning had, but it was a Super Crew. And with that, they detuned the engine just a little bit so the Lightning would be the top dog, but you got pretty much the same wheels, lowered suspension, you got a supercharged 5.4 under the hood, and it did that. Chevrolet, on the other hand, put a 6-liter Vortec motor in their Silverado in both regular cab and extended cabs, and came out with the Silverado SS. Now, that had a body kit to it that looked different, bigger wheels, 20-inch wheels at the time, but it didn't have a supercharger. It just was 300 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive with the extended cab. So again, it was just like, okay, that was a cool street truck. So street trucks have their whole different kind of attitude, and the whole reason why I'm going through this is I want you guys to understand that muscle trucks aren't street trucks. They are performance trucks, yes, for sure. But the street truck genre is a different thing. Tim Kuniskis has created his own kind of segment. And I'm not saying it's a bad segment. I'm saying it's a really cool segment. I actually like it. Now, me having 2 teenage kids, the quad cab is kind of a turnoff. Now, if it was just me and my wife, I would have no problem with that. But having 2 teenage kids, I kind of want the crew cab. Now, I also like the whole street truck movement. The reason being is I don't need to have the TRX's wide body kit on something. That truck is 88 inches wide. My Dodge Charger Daytona is 80 inches wide. It's 79.9 inches wide. If it was 1/10 of an inch wider, it would need marker lights like the TRX. It's already a pain in the ass to try to fit it in places. And I live in the town, like an actual like busy town. So if I had to, you know, like take the car through or the truck through a car wash, I wouldn't be able to do that with the 88 inches wide version, because I've already seen a ton of my local car washes saying that Raptors and TRXs are not allowed to go through them. Period. They're just not, because of how wide they are. So if I had a street truck, I could take it through the local car wash. There's a lot of things that make it easier for parking. Just makes a lot of sense to me, because I'd rather have that little bit of aggressive attitude with a crew cab pickup. So the dude showed us that, you know, it could be done. The dude concept back at SEMA. You know, again, crew cab, had the lower body cladding, had the ram air actual hood scoop, took the front end from the tungsten model, the monochromatic front end, and put it on there with a splitter, and it actually looked really, really nice. I mean, that truck was super cool. So it seems like everybody wants a truck like that I've seen that don't like the muscle trucks. So my whole article yesterday was about, can the 2 trucks coexist? And that's the whole point. I wanted to ask you guys, do you think muscle trucks and street trucks can coexist in the Ram lineup? To me, they can. Ram can offer both. I think it won't cannibalize either sales. I think it will actually boost sales, because you have a lot of people that take and buy these night edition Bighorns and Laramie trucks and end up lowering them down anyways. So why not offer something unique that is for a different kind of buyer? Even though they might kind of cross shop each other a little bit, they're totally different characteristics. And on top of that, Ram has most of the components already available. That stuff that was shown on the dude, a lot of that stuff is in production already. You can get 22-inch production wheels. You can put the stock Laramie wheels on it. That would be great. Lower the suspension down a little bit, right? Mopar makes drop suspensions for stuff. You could do that. You can, you know, look at offering body cladding for the trucks. Make it so the tungsten front end is on this new truck. There's a lot of things that they can do that wouldn't involve a lot of money and a lot of basically strategic moves to make it so they had to assemble it on the assembly line different than the other trucks. I really think that they could do this very cheaply. The other thing is you don't have to have a huge amount of volume for this truck. If you look back at Rumblebee, for both of the 2004 and 2005 model years that the Rumblebee existed, only 4,600 trucks were built between each year. So altogether, about 9,200 trucks were built in total. They could do something like that for the street truck. Offer 5,000 units, and that's it. They'd be very profitable. I mean, you could take a big, like a black express truck, have a 5.7 in it, and then you could take a Bighorn, put a 392 in it, and that's it. If you want a Hellcat powered truck, step on into the Rumblebee lineup. But people want that 392 in a crew cab, and I think that would be awesome for them to do. I really do. So again, I want to hear what you guys think, and I want your guys' opinion. Do you think muscle trucks and street trucks can coexist? And do you think that, you know, they should offer a crew cab version with the 392? I know a lot of you guys will say yes. It's on these kind of platforms that Ram actually listens. So make sure to leave your comments below. I would love to hear what you guys think about the difference between muscle trucks and street trucks. What do you favor? And what do you want to be seen with? Do you want Ram to, you know, build the muscle trucks only? Do you want street trucks to join? Tell us in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.